We are ready. We are like Frogman. We are ready.
All right, so here we go.
Well, welcome, nerdy knights of the well-rounded table, to Bohemian Geek Studies, where we take those extremely dorky dives into our favorite fandoms. I'm the queen of queries and defender of droids, Sara O'Connor. Time to put some tea on because we're going to be diving in deep this episode.
Yes.
Yes. Hello there. I'm Colleen McMillan, Jedi Master and Rebel Scum collaborator, and I got my Bo-Katan on today.
As you do.
And I am Pirate Jedi Anders Drew, ready for this episode's swashbuckling adventure.
And I'm your ambassador to Naboo, Flo Siegel, and I'm rocking my favorite planet, Tatooine.
Yes.
Where we did not go this time, so that was good.
That is
Yes.
true. Well, we truly run the gamut here in terms of rank from Padawan to Knight to Master, but no matter the rank that you carry, one thing does remain constant. Just like Baby Yoda, much to learn we still have.
Very, very true. So welcome back to Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Today we're looking at Episode 3, The Mandalorian Chapter 11, The Heiress. This episode was written by Jon Favreau and directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. Now beware, our transponder is broadcasting a full spoiler warning for this episode, as well as some absolutely wild speculation about the future of the series. So if you've seen this week's episode of Mando, grab your favorite drink from the cantina, especially if it's that tea Bo-Katan was talking about. Snuggle up with Baby Yoda and maybe a brand new adorable little baby tadpole, and settle in. Settle in for a look at what Favreau and his team have created this week. Sara, do you want to get us started with an episode recap?
Yeah, I do, Anders. And to start things off, Mando and the Frog Lady barely make it to the moon Trask, where she beautifully reunites with her husband. And those eggs hatch rather quickly, so you know what went down.
Some potent stuff.
Yeah, some
He was
hearty.
ready.
Yeah, much like the seed is strong with that one.
Right.
Oh my god.
Dude was
yes.
holding it in for a while.
Exactly.
Afterwards, Frogman points Mando to some Quarren as a means of finding other Mandalorians, who promptly feed Mando and Baby Yoda to a Mamacore. You monsters! Though that
Seriously.
monster was really cool to see. Luckily, they are rescued by Bo-Katan Kryze and her companions, who reunite Mando into a pirate mission to steal some Imperial weapons. Wow, to see her on film. Moff
So
Gideon
cool.
orders the ship to crash, but Mando saves the day and, on Bo-Katan's advice, sets off towards the forest of Corvus in search of Ahsoka freaking Tano. What?
Yes.
So much going on in this episode. So Anders,
excited.
why don't you get us started with those Easter egg connections and callbacks? Pretty please.
Definitely, Sara. And I'm going to start us off. This one might be a little bit of a stretch, but this absolutely was a callback in my mind, so I'm going with it. Mando's sort of coming in too fast landing as he touches down on Trask. Just every time that lady came on the monitor, it was like, you're coming in too fast. All I could think of was Anakin just sitting in the cockpit going, we're coming in too hot.
That
The beginning
is-
of Revenge of the Sith,
And
complete
he
with the
is
rescue
so
ships.
hot.
He's coming in and he's hot.
He is coming in so hot.
So, I mean, Favreau knows what he's doing, so I'm going to predict that that was actually an intentional connection.
I think
For
so.
sure.
Yeah.
But talking about the crash and the rescue ships,
Yeah.
Flo, what's going on next?
Okay, this was cool. Speaking of the crash, the crane that ultimately lifts the Razor Crest out of the water, which honestly was kind of Dagobah looking too, like when Yoda lifts,
Mhm.
you know, the X-Wing out of the
Mhm.
swamp. Anyways, I digress. Is a repurposed AT-AT, which is so cool. Glad to know. Galaxy Far, Far Away still into recycling, repurposing. Excellent, excellent stuff from your California host.
It really
Sarah.
looks like some
Also
art
kinda-
too from Solo. Like
Yeah.
some concept art
Yes.
from Solo.
Also
Yeah.
kind of
Totally.
reminded me of the clones repurposed crawler on
Yes.
In Rebels.
in
yeah.
Rebels, when we found them.
And I'm forever now referring to AT-ATs as AT-ATs.
AT-AT.
I love that.
AT-AT.
Do not edit that out, Flo. This is a pinky promise. Do not edit this
I
out.
think you promise, but you guys really don't call them AT-ATs?
No.
I
Pinky
go back and
promise.
forth. I'll go back
Do
and
you?
forth. Yeah.
It's a thing.
Well,
it's
now
a bit
I
of a thing
know.
to
It
say.
is a thing.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay, well, Evan and
Well,
I
now
definitely
you
call
can-
them at.
Well, moving on. So this moon is not Mon-Cala as we thought, but frankly, it might as well be because the two
Yeah.
dominant
Right.
species here seem to be Mon Calamari and Corn, both of whom are the dominant species on Mon-Cala.
Yeah, I was a little surprised at this one. Like, just why not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, I'm just saying this is definitely where Davy Jones is from. Like they look
For
exactly
sure.
the same. As
Oh,
Davy
major,
Jones.
major vibes of Pirates of the Caribbean this
Such
episode.
pirates vibes.
I love that they're also rocking that sweet knitwear.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
get after it, Mon-Cala. He looks great. Yeah,
Colleen,
speaking of Mon-Cala,
there you go. Yeah.
that ship that our boy Mando is sailing on, if you're it's very similar to a Mon Calamari. I think it's Sphyrna.
I
We're
think
gonna
it's
go with
fair enough. Yeah.
Sphyrna class Hammerhead Corvette. We saw these ships in Rogue One as the Lightmaker rammed a couple of Star Destroyers together, which is fucking awesome. I love that scene.
Yeah.
Love that part.
Those Mon Calamari always repurposing their boats into star-going vessels. It's kind of like the ship Bebop from Cowboy Bebop, which is a boat that can also go into space. Like, all right, let's do it, guys. The Mon Calas are just all over
Why
it.
not?
Yes. And what is actually on that ship? It is something called the Mama Core. We have absolutely no idea what a Mama Core actually is. We have never seen them before, but this thing is definitely just worth noting. I don't know why all of the like creatures this season have that like circular mouth thing going on, and it's really weird. But this
Mhm.
thing,
Is it? I don't know.
Scary vaginas, you guys.
That's what I was
Scary
going to
scary.
say. That's what we were dancing around, but we wouldn't be BGS if we just went straight to the heart of it. Eh?
Right into it.
I mean, to me, this thing was just very reminiscent, also kind of like a Sarlacc in its Sarlacc pit. But talking back about Pirates of the Caribbean, this also is very reminiscent to me of the Kraken from the
For
second
sure.
couple movies in that franchise. Also, a little bit of that. I always forget the name of it. It's the squid creature in Lord of the Rings outside the Mines of Moria.
Gatekeeper or the
Yeah, the
guardian.
gatekeeper
I think
guy.
they call it a guardian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I mean, I'm guessing that this was a deliberate callback to have a little bit of like karmic justice here. Baby Yoda in his little egg carrier getting eaten, just
Mhm.
like he was eating those eggs last episode.
Mhm.
Ultimately
Served you
saved
right.
though. Although I do want us to just take a moment because we don't see him in his little egg carrier for the rest of the episode. It was very damaged. So is this the end of his like tiny little Corvette?
I think so.
I think so. I think he's moving into, 50-year-old adulthood ish.
Soon enough, he'll be walking with a cane.
That's right.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Goodbye to our last tie into the Queel.
Oh, poor Queel. Yeah, he made that.
But stop crying because dun da da da, we finally got an intro to Sasha Banks. It was really exciting.
So cool.
It was really awesome. She is credited in this episode as Mandalorian. Is it Koska?
Koska?
That's what I thought.
I think Koska, yeah.
Koska Reeves. We
Not Costco. Of
No, not
that we are
Costco.
sure.
That's where I was
Yes.
yesterday. We speculated, we theorized, we hoped not, and she is not playing Sabine Wren. It is also worth noting that she is not credited as Sasha Banks, but as Mercedes Varnado.
Mhm.
And in addition, we also meet Axe Woves, right? Which is like
That's just a really cool name.
biggest
Such a
name
good name.
ever.
Such a
Yeah.
good name.
Who is played by Simon Cassianides. But Sarah, what other Mandalorian do we meet here?
I
Bum, bum,
think
bum.
people went absolutely nuts.
Yeah, nuts.
Yes.
We meet live in the flesh Bo-Katan Kryze, and wow, does she look and act the part. Ready with another side quest though for Din. He's just
She even like
every
calls it out as a
episode.
side quest.
Yes.
She's like, but first you're gonna help me on my thing.
Totally.
Yes. She is played by Katie Sackhoff, great last name, who has also voiced the character on Clone Wars and Rebels, and she looks incredible. This was teased by Disney throughout the lead up to the season, but frankly, it is so great to actually see it to come to fruition. Colleen,
Katie
what's up
Sackhoff
next?
is just
What she
hold
got?
on. I
go
got a small piece on Katie Sackhoff
No,
here,
my
'cause
bad, my
I
bad.
seriously think she is just like such an underrated
Yes.
actress. She's well documented as an action star. She acts the part. She's got these really incredible facial expressions that she
Yes.
pulls off, and it's very, very subtle, but she actually has like absolutely perfect on the spot comedic timing.
Yes.
And I think it's just incredible. But I digress. Colleen, what is going on next?
She has got some info for Mando. She's got that great scoop. After he accuses her, of course, of not being a proper quote-unquote Mandalorian, because of course he would, they used his preferred expletive, dank ferric. I loved that.
Which is a great weed name. I am ready to find, like, that is a
Yes.
great weed name. Make it happen,
Sarah,
someone.
do you have any dank ferric I can smoke?
Yeah, right? Like, that's such a great name.
His reaction to when Sasha Banks' character said that, he was like, what? Like, oh, maybe they are Mandalorian. And they identify Mando as a child of the Watch, which is alarming. It's a religious sect of Mandalorians who broke off and are attempting to restore the ancient way of the Mandalore.
Ooh.
Capital W way.
Interesting.
Capital way. This is the way, for real. This is very
Their
likely
way
a
or the
direct
highway.
reference to Death Watch.
Mm-hmm.
We got our pre-Vizsla heads out there looking for a Death Watch callback, whose sigil we glimpsed in the season 1 flashback of Mando being found and rescued by the Mandalorians. Death Watch was a dominant presence in Clone Wars and a little bit in Rebels too, because the Night Owls were from Death Watch. And they're being responsible for Maul's takeover of Mandalore. Thanks
Thanks,
Death
Pre-Vizsla.
Watch and Pre-Vizsla for that. And Bo was in on it, so
At the time, sure.
she's to blame a little bit for this. We really liked it though, because this was a great explanation for the covert that Mando's a part of, apparent lack of information about anything that's going on in the galaxy or with the Jedi. If they broke off a while back, that would make more sense for them not to be in the know, and for Mando not to be in the know. And they told him not to go to Mandalore because it's cursed. So it's like they don't want these foundlings to have any information about Mandalorians. Suspicious.
Overall, like that all just made me so happy because I've been like floundering, and this like was like, oh, it like makes sense now.
Everything
Okay.
starts to
Everything's
Finally.
like, oh, the looks
Got
they give
it.
him, and they're like, oh, he's one of them.
I thought that was great.
He's one of those weirdos.
It was very important to learn more information about
Mhm.
Din this episode, for sure. Anders,
Yes.
speaking
What's
of learning
next?
more information, what's next,
Yes.
our guy?
So next up, we have the freighter that they are hijacking. It's identified as a Gozanti class freighter. This class of ship was first introduced in the series back in the Phantom Menace as just a way to kind of diversify Republic fleet, but it also became just much more common to see these freighters throughout the Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith, Rebels era as a pretty standard Imperial freighter. So just getting that name was a little bit of a nice little Easter egg. One of the weapons also really looked like a T7 ion disruptor that was on it, which if that's actually the case, then that's a pretty dangerous thing to be coming around with. But I guess if
Zeb's
you're
afraid of them, so
if you're the Imperial Remnant, I guess you really need to protect your stuff, except against, 4 guys with jetpacks.
Yeah. Come on. Who could ever plan against that?
But,
And let me tell. Are you ready? Are you ready?
oh yeah.
Okay.
I was saying,
What
go
I'm
ahead.
gonna
Go, go,
tell
go.
Who is the captain of this freighter? It is Titus Welliver.
yes, is that the smoke monster from Lost alarm cue? I heard those alarms and I was like, what is it? And then they turned around, it was Titus Welliver. I'm like, he's the smoke monster.
You are so cute.
Sorry,
So-
back to you, Flo.
You're fine. So yes, Titus Welliver plays the unnamed Imperial captain who attempts to crash the freighter when it seems all is lost. Very, very Titanic, going down with the ship. Kamikaze pilot.
Except he makes the ship go down.
Well, okay. He is both the iceberg and the Titanic captain. After he fails, though, he bites down on some sort of like electric capsule and commits
Yum.
suicide rather than give up information or face Moff Gideon after failing him. Very Hydra agent type suicide here. Definitely reminiscent of Captain America, the First Avenger, aka my favorite. Interestingly, Titus Welliver and the freighter pilot, played by Alexander Wraith, have some Marvel credentials in common, both in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and so did Simon Kassianides and Philip Alexander. So this whole episode is actually just a cover for a S.H.I.E.L.D. reunion tour.
Yeah, did we actually watch a S.H.I.E.L.D. episode? Is that
Yeah,
what this
we did.
was?
I think
like
we
Hail
picked the
Hydra
wrong
up in there
thing.
for real.
But we have to wonder, what is that captain so unwilling to tell Bo-Katan? Well, she's searching for Moff Gideon so she can reclaim that Darksaber, y'all. Bo-Katan
Yes.
previously wielded the Darksaber after it was gifted to her by that wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Sabine Wren in Rebels. So it seems like maybe Gideon took it directly from her during the Purge. Colleen,
Yep.
speaking of Moff Gideon, what's next?
Giancarlo Esposito makes his first appearance this season in a hollow form, but that's cool. We still get him. He also seems to have his very own version of "This Is the Way" when he says, "Long live the Empire." Once again, very Hail Hydra.
Yeah.
going on.
Very. I mean, they are both Disney properties now, so
Mhm.
One and the same. Soon we'll get
Yep.
the crossover episode we've all been longing for.
Mhm.
mhm.
I am wondering if he knows where Ray Sloan is, because she's off in the unknown regions right now with the rest of the Imperial remnant. So I'm curious if they're gonna link that in too, maybe.
It's possible, but I don't know. Well, we'll talk about that later, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Don't want us to get too far off the rails on this one. So throughout this whole like swashbuckling pirate fest, there are several little Easter eggs and callbacks. I mean, we get thermal detonators. We get this amazing line after Mando realizes that they are in fact stealing the ship and not the cargo. He basically confronts Bo-Katan and says, like, you're altering the terms of our agreement. So a nice little callback to Darth Vader in Empire Strikes Back, telling Lando, I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
I really thought they were going to go for it and say it. I was like,
she kind of looked like she
gripping my
wanted
couch.
to.
She wanted to, but she kept with that, this is the way. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it
I
was
did.
all
What you
great.
gonna do?
But man,
Potato, tomato, tomato.
totally. It was so
It
good.
worked.
But in the end, Mando gets the information he needs. Woohoo! After he uses some thermal detonators to help take the ship, Bo-Katan tells him to head to the city of Culloden, which sounds like it should be somewhere in Outlander, frankly, on the forest plain of Corvus, which rang major Grindelwald vibes for me, to find Ahsoka Tano. Woo! We've been waiting to hear this. Ahsoka is, of course, my boy, Anakin Skywalker's former apprentice, the not quite a Jedi that is considered by many fans to be one, if not the best character in all of Star Wars. So we're officially going to meet her possibly as early as next week. And now I probably just jinxed it. So everybody knock on it.
And just as a final note, they really seem to be laying on the Alien Universe references this season.
I was mad
After-
I couldn't find a good picture for this. I'm not gonna lie.
No, that's okay. After those creepy, deepy spider eggs last episode, we get a couple of visual references to the facehuggers this episode, both in Baby Yoda's soup, our boy's grown up, using that spoony spoon, and then again at the very end of the episode. Worth noting that both of these creatures end up as a snacky snack for our grown boy.
It's true, but he did get like permission to eat them, so it's okay.
That's true.
Amen.
Yes, he did. He waited.
And you know, we were
Okay.
talking about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. callbacks here. This episode to me was just very, very Joss Whedon-y overall. Like the initial landing, and then there's that small moment at the end where the Razor Crest jumps into hyperspace and a piece just kind of flies off. I had it in my mind that we had seen this on Mandalorian before, but I couldn't find it, so I decided that I was just confusing it with the movie Serenity, which is the film version of Joss Whedon's show Firefly, where that's kind of a bit of a running gag, like the ship falling apart. It's actually how the film ends. They jump off, a piece flies off, cut to black, and Mal's like, what was that?
Ship's falling apart, y'all.
So another kind of Joss Whedon in universe
Mhm.
callback there,
Mhm.
just to end the episode.
Yes. It was such a rush job. Like Rory, the Moncal from Rebels and the Lego universe would not have been proud of that.
Oh no, he would
patch
not have
job.
let that. He would not have let that ship fly.
Been
It was
like, you're
horrific.
grounded.
It was like held together with like bungee cords. I don't know.
Seaweed.
It really was.
It was held together by seaweed and hope.
Well,
To be fair,
rebellions are built
when he
on
landed,
hope.
he said, "I can't fix it, but I'll make it fly."
Yep.
I mean, to
I'll
be
do my
fair, he
best.
delivered.
He did.
So I think that wraps it up for our Easter eggs, observations, callbacks, connections. So I think we are ready. I mean, we've kind of already given our sentiments, but I think we're ready for some actual full official reactions.
Yeah.
Flo, you want to get us started with an official reaction?
I am ready. Okay, so first I want to say thank you to my lovely co-hosts for letting me go first because I was tired of being the person who just like completely shat on the episode in the previous weeks. So I'm happy to report I loved this episode. First of all, I know it seemed short to some people. To me, this was like the perfect length of time where I didn't get bored and it felt like everything was just jam-packed in there, which is how I like my Star Wars. I don't like a lot of lag time. I do maintain that the previous 2 episodes were not useful in any way, shape, or form. He just had to get to this planet. Okay, fine. Loved it. So unbelievably happy that the frog people have a baby. I'm
Yep.
so happy for them. When Din said congratulations, I like nearly cried. I was so Also, it was very sweet to see Baby Yoda playing with like the little frog and taking care of it and like learning. That was really, really sweet. And I do think that his experience with the Mama Core like kind of changed him fundamentally.
Mhm.
I am still like secretly hoping for evil Baby Yoda just because I think that'd be really interesting. But overall, I just loved it. I loved all the like Marvel-y things that were in it, all the Hydra things. Loved the duplicitous nature of like, bring the kid, let him see this, and then just pushing him in.
No worries.
Worst episode of Deadliest Catch ever.
They are
real.
seriously just like leaning into the let's put Baby Yoda in danger, like let's have people abuse him.
But like, at least that made me feel like there were stakes. Like the past 2 episodes, I just didn't feel any stakes. I didn't feel like anything was happening. This one, I was like, now we're starting. Like, let's go. And I love the Din backstory that like he doesn't know about things because he's in like a cult. So yeah, poor guy.
Oopsies.
This is
If
the
you
way.
don't have access to knowledge, you might be in a cult.
Yeah. For me, like out of 10, I would give this episode probably a 9. I think it's like my second favorite after the like super heisty one from last season. I really love it.
Which I find interesting because we do get like that interior of the Imperial ship, like that very, very Star Wars iconography going on.
Mhm.
I think that's just what I like. I'm just like a dark girl in like bright planet
Bright world.
world.
Just a dark side girl.
In a dark world, girl. I have to say that I totally agree. Call me a little bit of a traditionalist, but as soon as I saw the stormtroopers, I was like, okay, this feels a lot more Star Wars-y to me. And
Mhm.
also it was a total relief because, I mean, we love talking about this show and we're excited about it. But I was starting to get a little bit nervous as people were starting to get frustrated with that lack of knowledge. We're not in a cult here, even though there is a frenzy for Star Wars and we definitely want more. It was great to finally get some information on not only Din, but also information, like tangible information on how to unite little Baby Yoda with the Jedi. I
Mhm.
will say, I hate to say it for those people who had like held out hope that little Baby Yoda was somehow just storing the
Oh,
eggs.
God, no.
That
No,
was like
he was hungry for some snacky
He's
No,
a
snacks.
child.
Wait,
Oh,
I'm
a lot
sorry.
of people were saying that.
You were-
there were people. There were
if you
people who were
thought
holding
this,
out hope.
I don't know what to do with you. He definitely
Yeah.
he gobbled them up like they were his appetizer.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm very glad, like Flo, that we did get to see a birth of moment of life. That was truly spectacular. But enough about my reactions. Colleen, how about yours?
Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys, the minute the Razor Crest fell off the
So
platform,
good.
I was so in. I laughed so hard I had to pause the episode. I was cackling. I was like, all right, this is some Star Wars because it's very humorous. Like, yes, there should be comedy in Star Wars.
Yes.
Favreau just out here earning our trust. We had a little bit of doubts last week, and now he just comes right back in with a home run episode. I loved every minute of this. The Froggos sweet reunion. Oh my gosh, you guys. I almost got tears too. Because they were calling to each other and then they ran to each other and they touched hands first and they hugged. I was like,
And then they rushed off to a private room.
Yes.
Yes.
Immediately. They're like, here's the inn, Mando, shove. We're going to go do our thing.
Bye.
So that's fine. LBY probably learning that eating the eggs wasn't cool.
Yep.
I think he finally got a parenting moment from someone.
Yeah.
Not Mando, of course, but he got a parenting moment, and that was helpful.
We did see a little bit of parenting growth when
Yeah.
Mando was like,
Yes.
I will feed you. I
Yes.
will buy you food.
I will feed you.
I will say,
And he said,
fully agree
mind
with
your
that.
manners.
Mind your manners. And then when he left them with the sitter, like when he left them with the frogs, I was like, all right, this is like,
That was the
some, like,
responsible
he leave
choice.
him. It was
Mhm.
very, I actually felt he was a pretty good dad in this one, which was really nice to see.
Much better than he had the last couple episodes. I really liked seeing the Mon Calamari and the Quarren. They looked so cool. I have a lot of like hope now that Ahsoka's makeup is going to look amazing just
yeah.
because of how cool the Quarren looked. Like, yes,
Yeah.
I think they can do it with the effects that they're doing. And of course, our absolute queen, Bo-Katan Kryze. Like, yes, all the snaps. Oh, I love her so much. Although she better be saying that she is the quote unquote last of her line because she knows that Corky is a Kenobi. Because if Corky died off screen, guys, I'm going to be real mad. Real mad. Or at least I would hope that they would talk about it. The action was excellent. The direction was really tight. Like, yes, Bryce Dallas Howard, amazing.
Mhm.
And Pedro's performance was really good. Like that last line that he says, this is the way to Bo-Katan, the yearning in his voice, like he wants to go with them, but he has to fulfill his mission first. It was just pitch perfect. His entire performance this episode, wonderful. 10 out of 10 lightsabers all the way up. Very good.
How about you, Anders?
So, all right, staying calm here. The only thing I can really say for this episode is, fork yeah, baby! So good. Oh my God. Like I said last week, like even when the show is not that great, it's still phenomenal. But this just took everything up, dialed it up to 11. Bryce Dallas Howard coming back. Obviously, she directed the season 1 episode Sanctuary, which was a standout episode of that season. And I mean, you know, we've started the season, we had that Western fantasy adventure, we had the horror movie last week, and then this was like a pirate on the high seas, swashbuckling type deal. I love everything that they're doing here. I mean, you guys have talked about Bo-Katan, you've talked about the real like Star Wars-y nature of this episode. I will say though, those stormtroopers had a little bit too good of aim when they were firing at Mando, and he was just getting like hit. I was like,
the ones that can
you should not be landing that. You should not be landing that many shots.
That's because they had the repeating blasters. I think that's the only reason they were.
That's true.
It was
Um,
great seeing how well the Beskar held up. That was very sick.
Totally.
That was really cool. And I mean, just some of like the little teases we got here into the wider lore of like what actually happened to Mandalore. And I'm really excited to like dive into that and the potential in the future. Like they have these references to Mandalore's enemies and the Purge, and we still don't actually know what happened. So maybe not this season, but in the future, I think we absolutely could be heading towards some kind of a war to retake Mandalore, which would just be like one of the coolest things to see in live action.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Bring us Fen Rao. Bring Fen Rao back. If he and Bo-Katan weren't having like a very loving sexual relationship, then something has gone horribly wrong. Like, come on. Give us something.
On
But-
screen.
On screen. Yes.
On screen.
We want
But-
all of them on screen.
Looking ahead though, so looking ahead to next week, I mean, obviously we got that major Ahsoka Tano tease. My personal prediction is that we are going to get maximum next week, like an end shot cameo.
Yeah.
Like the episode ends with them finding him. That seems like a really good mid-season finale type thing to do.
Mhm.
Plus, thinking back to like everything we saw during the trailer, we still don't have any of the stuff of him going back and seeing Grief Karga, Cara Dune.
Yep.
And if you would think that most of the trailer is coming out of the first half of the season, then that's probably where we go next week for the most part.
Yes.
Why he goes there? No idea. Maybe he just needs to get actual ship repairs. But
Yeah.
that would be my predictions for next week.
Yep. That's my thought too, is that he needs to get the crest repaired before he can go anywhere else. So Grief and Kara would be a good pit stop, hopefully along the way. And then he gets to go to Corvus, which is Latin for raven, y'all. So we have more bird imagery for our girl Ahsoka. Like, yes, bring on all the birds for Ahsoka. I agree. We probably won't see her until like the last possible second because Dave Filoni is directing the 5th episode. So I think that is where we will get the bulk of our Ahsoka.
She is his baby.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. How about you,
Mhm.
Flo? Any predictions?
I agree. I don't think we're gonna get to like Ahsoka right at the beginning of the next episode. I think like the next mini quest is gonna be like finding her on Corvus. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I am still like, I just feel like every episode Baby Yoda is getting really close to talking. Like
Yes.
when he was cooing at his soup, I was like, he's gonna say something. Like, what is happening? So I'm hoping he talks. I don't think it'll be next week, but I think it's gonna be definitely before the season ends. I was just like really excited to hear that somebody has seen one of his people. Like that was really exciting. So I'm hoping that we see like a non-Yoda but older Baby Yoda person. That would be really cool.
Interesting.
I'd be super into that. Yeah, besides that, I'm excited. I feel like I'm back in and I'm ready to ride.
Yeah, the puppetry has been absolutely awesome. And pretty much the only prediction that I have is similar to Flo's. With Baby Yoda's egg now gone and with all of the signs pointing to leveling up, we are definitely going to see this little boy level
Is it going to be like in
on up.
the is it going to be like in The Sims where like magically he just like ages like physically like 10 years?
Exactly.
He hasn't really used the Force yet, you guys, like in a real
He
Okay, I
hasn't
thought
actually.
he was
Wait.
going to.
So did I.
When that like crab star thing was hanging down,
Mhm.
I thought he was going to use it. And then
That's true. He hasn't done it yet, really. Other than that one with the eggs last episode,
Right.
he hasn't really done it this season.
Except to eat. He hasn't used his powers.
Before we close out, though,
nasty ass soup out of like a fork and hose.
Yeah, let's have some chowder out of this
That
hose.
was so
that's
gross.
a great invention, actually. As a
Oh
New
my
Englander who loves that New England clam chowder, like just give me why not? Just have
Straight
that
to your mouth.
straight there. Let's do it.
It was the grossest like ASMR like squelch noise coming out. Oh god, it was so gross.
So before we close out, though, I do want to give a shout out to one theory that I saw today from a friend of all of ours, John, because we have all speculated about Ahsoka and Sabine and how they're going to like factor into this, and I don't know why we haven't actually mentioned the possibility yet that everything we've seen so far actually happens prior to Ahsoka going to fetch Sabine.
Mhm.
And so this is his prediction. We might be able to dive into a little bit more next week that potentially Mando bringing Baby Yoda to meet Ahsoka Tano is the event that spurs her to go get Sabine and to try and find Ezra. And I
like
just
that.
thought that was a really great theory. It would tie things up really well and wanted to give it a shout out. Thank you, John M.
Yay.
Yeah.
Applause,
Woo woo.
applaud, John.
Yeah, and I think that's a great place for us to leave it today. Thank you so much for being with us, and come back next time when we continue exploring The Mandalorian and other geeky goodies. You can enjoy us in our podcast form
Lego
or
Star
on
Wars
YouTube.
coming up.
Oh yeah, shouts to Lego Star Wars coming up, which we'll be doing on Tuesday. And either way, smash that subscribe button. Check out our website at bohemiangeekstudies.com, where you can watch all of our episodes and enjoy Colleen's Book Corner, where she is reviewing Star Wars literature. And contact us through email and social media, darlings.
Yes.
And as we keep telling other nerdy knights to come join us, because it really does help. Until next time, sabers up and keep those episodes streaming. Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.
So long.
Cheers.